Have you ever thought about whether a word could be more than just, well, a word? Today we are diving into something called the System 19 Zikr engine. It's this really fascinating framework that says, yes, it absolutely can be. It's a structured system that's all about merging words, your own breath, and some pretty specific math to create a tangible, real experience. You can almost think of it as a user's manual for your own consciousness.
But yeah, before we get into all the nuts and bolts, let's just start with the huge question that this whole system puts on the table. Can a single word, if you use it in just the right way, go beyond its definition and actually become a lived, felt experience? The framework we're looking at today says the answer to that is a hard yes.
So what in the world is the System 19 Zikr engine? Well, the word zikr itself is a kind of meditative remembrance, but this system, this is a very, very specific protocol for it. It zeroes in on four-letter words from the Quran, and the idea isn't about some abstract belief. It's about a repeatable process that uses your breath and a bit of math to turn a word into a state of being you can actually feel. Honestly, the best way to wrap your head around this is to think of it like software, but for your mind. So in this metaphor, the special four-letter word is the line of code. Your breath is the enter key that actually runs the program. And your consciousness, that's the operating system it all runs on. Okay, but before you can run any kind of code, you have to know the rules, right? And this entire system is built on a foundation of two very specific, very important principles. So here they are, the foundational rules. First, the system only works with true four-letter Quranic words. The source material is pretty clear that three-letter words are seen as incomplete. They just don't have the structure needed for a stable cycle. And second, every single one of these four-letter words is split into two separate zones, which they call fields. And this split is absolutely key. The first two letters make up what's called the outer field. Think of this as the background music in a scene. It sets the environment, it creates the atmosphere, but you're not consciously focused on it. The really important part is the inner field, which is made of the third and fourth letters. This is what becomes the lived experience, the part you actually feel. Okay, so you've got the word, you understand its two fields, but how do you actually run the code? Well, that brings us to the physical part, the interface between that word and your body, your breath. The breath pattern is this exact four-step cycle. Exhale, hold, inhale, hold, or EHIH. Each one of those actions is tied directly to one of the letters. So you exhale on the first letter, you hold your breath for the second, you inhale on the third, which the system calls the active flow state, and then you do a final hold for the fourth letter, which is supposed to lock in the experience as a memory state. And this is just so important to get, that EHIH pattern isn't random at all. It's specifically designed to be the bridge, the physical mechanism that connects the abstract information of the word directly to your body. It's how the code actually gets executed. All right, now we get to the final layer of the system and maybe the most unique part, the math. According to this protocol, every word doesn't just have a breath pattern, it also has a very precise numerical frequency. So let's walk through how you actually calculate it. To make this really concrete, we're going to use the example they give in the source material, the word Rahim. So the very first step is to convert each of those four letters into its matching number inside System 19. Okay, here's the conversion laid out. R is a 4, A is a 3, H is 13, and Eem is 12. So these four numbers, 4, 3, 13, and 12, they are the raw data for the entire frequency calculation that follows. So the very first calculation is S, and it's simple. You just add those four numbers together. In this case, that gives you 32. And according to the system, S represents the core frequency duration in seconds. Next up, we calculate A. We take that S value of 32 and we multiply it by 14. That gives us 448. Now, symbolically, this step is described as the ascent through the 14-stage scaffold, which might represent a journey through different levels of awareness, or something like that. From there, we figure out C. We take A, our 448, and multiply it by 4. The result is 1,792. And this is said to represent activating all four corners of the cycle. You see that four-part structure just keeps showing up. And that brings us to the final number, M, the master cycle. We just add 1 to C, giving us 1,793. And this final number is described as the total time in seconds for what the system calls a complete identity rewrite cycle. I mean, that is a pretty profound claim about what this can do.
So we've got the word, the breath, the math. But what is the whole point? What is this engine supposed to actually produce? Well, that brings us to the claimed final output, a real, lived transformation. Let's just come right back to this central idea, because it's everything. The whole process, all the breathing, all the math, it's all designed to turn on those inner 2 letters, the part of the word that is meant to become a tangible thing that you actually feel. And what is that experience supposed to feel like? Well, the source material claims some pretty big effects. Everything from altering your nervous system so you feel calmer or maybe more energized, to shifting your entire emotional field. It even suggests the process can kickstart an identity shift or help you rewrite old limiting memories. The goal here is deep internal change, all programmed by a single word. So, if you sum it all up, the System 19 Zikr engine is a protocol. It combines a specific 4-letter word, a very precise 4-step breath pattern, and this multi-layered calculation. And the whole point, the stated goal, is to create a specific, repeatable, and deeply felt state of being.
Which kind of leaves us with a final and pretty provocative question, right? If we just entertain this idea for a minute that words really can work like code for our own consciousness, what program would you choose to run?